RETROSAURUS with Oli and Kev.
Welcome to RETROSAURUS with myself, Oli.
And I'm Kev.
And today we're here to talk about Penelope Pitstop.
Help! Do you like the sound effects, Oli?
I love the sound effects. And that's exactly what she was doing for most of that cartoon, in fact.
Yeah.
And we're going to discuss how this affected us as children and emotionally damaged us as adults. And also what a fantastic villains there were in the 80s and admiring the Hooded Claw and his fantastic schemes.
Absolutely. If you've not got a top hat, a mask, and a cape, you're nobody in this business.
It's true. You're not doing anything. You're not doing
Indeed.
anything. In fact, a lot of the villains of the 80s are some of our top people in today's society as well.
Exactly.
They own Twitter, they own the Times. You know, it's all going on.
So let's get into it, Oli.
Let's get into it.
First of all, maybe some people don't really know what the Perils of Penelope Pitstop is, and indeed who the Hooded Claw is.
Indeed. Well, I didn't know. This is a revelation to me, really.
How reveled were you?
Oh, I was reveled. Reveled. Yeah, I was. I was excited, and I didn't know what was going to happen. It was so many ups and downs. Just like life.
Well, let me tell you, Oli, I grew up with this cartoon and I thought it was brilliant. From the first moment that I saw it. Better than Top Cat, better than Captain Caveman.
Oh my God. Okay.
Better than Snagglepuss. All those Hanna-Barbera characters that are so brilliant.
Yeah.
For me, Penelope Pitstop, and in particular, the Hooded Claw.
Okay.
Were the best. So I'm a big fan. I
might take issue on the Top Cat one. I thought I remember Top Cat. I was a big fan of Top Cat. I have to say, that's a high bar you've set. A high bar.
Yeah. When we were speaking about doing this podcast about Penelope Pitstop and stuff, I remember that your idea, Oli, was to talk about, how Penelope Pitstop influenced you as a child and what it can do for you as an adult.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the theme of our little podcast tonight. And what did you come up with there, Oli? I mean, how was your childhood and did it involve Penelope Pitstop and the Hooded Claw?
Well, I think it must have involved her in some way, because even though I don't remember this exact TV show, obviously they're all spin-offs from the catch a pigeon type thing situation when they were all trying to catch a pigeon from what's it called, Wacky Races.
Absolutely.
And so I don't recall her, but she was obviously in there, as were the Anthill Mob, I believe, after research. But I remember more Muttley and Dick Dastardly as well, who also makes a name check in this episode, I noticed.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
I missed that.
The Hooded Claw said something about Dick Dastardly, saying, "I'm not Dick Dastardly" or something, or I can't remember, or some reference anyway. But I thought it had some modern themes for you, because if you think about it, it was the Hooded Claw. The whole thing was he was a guardian, wasn't he? He was a guardian, and he was trying to see her off in some way so he could get access to her, the Penelope Pitstop millions, obviously, wherever they came from. And you know what I thought? You know who came to mind? Britney Spears and the conservatorship. And her dad, that Jamie Spears is maybe the modern day Hooded Claw, but maybe a bit more street smarts.
Just in case anybody's wondering, the episode that we're referring to is the very first Penelope Pitstop episode called Jungle Jeopardy, in which Penelope gets chased by her guardian, who by day is Sylvester Sneekly, and let's say by night is the villainous Hooded Claw and his henchmen, the Bully Brothers.
Right. Well, actually, I think that's the point as well. I mean, that's a good life lesson there. If someone is called Sylvester Sneekly, you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful with the name. If someone's, you've got to look at that name.
Yeah,
you've got to be careful.
Yeah.
If someone's called, Mark Bad Guy, you should look out for that, really.
That's true. And the Bully Brothers. I mean,
Bully. Yeah.
But what I wanted to say about it was how it influenced me as a child is, I really wasn't that interested in any of the characters apart from the Hooded Claw.
Okay.
I just thought he was definitely the best character and had the best laugh, obviously.
Yeah. He enjoyed his laugh. He enjoyed laughing.
Yeah. And I just thought there could be later on in life a really, really good way to make money.
What do you mean to find a young girl who has yet to come into the millions, become her guardian in some sort of way, and then try and kill her off, but don't really, just come up with ingenious schemes to do so that don't ever work out? Why is it the Hooded Claw? He's got a hood of some description. What's the claw business? What am I missing?
Well, would you believe that the Perils of Penelope Pitstop was actually based on something that came out in 1914 called The Perils of Pauline, and it was a silent movie series, right?
Right.
Later on, a really original person came up with the idea of creating another version of, their own version of it called The Exploits of Elaine.
Right. Oh, wow, that's original. I like that. Very good.
Well, who was the mystery villain in that particular show? Well, he was called the Clutching Hand.
The Clutching Hand. Right.
Okay, and that's where it came from. But there were lots of other villains later on. There was Wu Fang.
Oh dear, that doesn't sound good. What was the one before you said? Did you say the Clutching Hand? The Clutching Hand.
Yeah, the Clutching Hand.
Hand clutches, I guess, but doesn't every hand clutch?
The Clutching Hand sounds to me a bit like those, in Japan, they've got those trains that are just for women.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
because
I see.
Of the Clutching Hands.
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely are clutching hands.
Yeah.
What do you think's taken, you've taken into your life now? What life lessons? Avoid the jungle at all costs. I mean, I think that's a good life lesson.
I thought many people might go on to great things after watching this. Like going to law, finance, politics.
Okay.
Because I think we would agree, right, that being an ingenious fiend is quite lucrative.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I mean, he's got enough money to hire two guys on a permanent. I mean, I'm guessing they're permanent, all year round, available for these things.
He doesn't even need the money.
He doesn't. He doesn't seem to need the money. No, this is true. He had a submarine by the end of this episode. At the end of this episode, I mean, exactly. Who has a submarine? That's not cheap.
He's not poor.
He's definitely not poor. Do you think he's? I mean, as the guardian, he's surely the accountant of the whole estate. So do you think he's creaming off the top? And actually, the ironic thing is that the more he creams off the top to try and use this money to get rid of her so he can have the money, he's actually depleting from the pool of the money that's available.
A lot of the ploys do seem to be kind of thought up by someone on crack.
Yes. So yeah, let's talk about some of the ploys. What was your favourites of the few? There was quite a number of ploys. He didn't give up. He's perseverance. I mean, doesn't stop, doesn't let one thing fail. He's always coming up with something else on the spot. Very, very inventive.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. I mean, he has a lot of energy. What can I say?
He does.
What impressed me much more, apart from the array of booby traps and stuff, was, that it's important to laugh outrageously after every sentence.
Indeed. So that's Paul Lind.
That's his name.
Who I've never heard of before, but I'm about to find out he's been in loads of things.
And it turned out that he was a closeted homosexual in his real life.
I'm just reading that. Yeah, wow. Okay.
Right. It's quite a character.
Yeah.
And had apparently, I think it was in the 70s, he was on this show called Celebrity Squares in America, which we didn't get in Britain.
Very famous there, though.
Right. and
we had blankety blank and everything. Right, it's all right. Well, we're all good. We didn't lose out.
Well, it's a bit like blankety blank, right? And he was basically, doing all this sort of queer innuendo and stuff like that, and really getting away with it because audiences totally loved him. But I heard he was a bit of a shit to people that he worked with as well. Okay. So it's complex, and I think he brought that to children's television. That complexity, because look at some of those booby traps. Were there crocodiles in this episode? There were. There was.
So that was one of the more very elaborate ones. So basically, he tied it to a tree. No, he tied it to like a tree, and then the other side of the tree was a bunch of bananas that a monkey was eating. And then because of her weight, once the monkey kept on eating the bananas, she'd be lower and lowered into a pit of crocodiles. I mean, he could have cut the rope and she would have just dropped into the crocodiles, but there was a key component that it had to be slow, and she had to wait to see the monkey eat all these bananas before she ends up into the soup with the crocodiles. Although the first one, he takes out her plane. Just to say that isn't so much fun. He just basically takes out the plane and hoping for it to crash. True. So that doesn't work.
True.
That's very straightforward.
I particularly loved the bit where he ties her to a torpedo that he's pointed at China.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, he's got a problem with them for some reason. Maybe, you didn't get a job there or something.
It was something to do with fireworks.
Oh, fireworks. I see. So it was using a Chinese fireworks thing, right?
That's it. So it was all about that because, I mean, these people sat down and wrote this.
Yeah.
But, some thought went into it.
Yeah. So obviously, detailed thought.
Yeah.
But again, that was, I guess, was that elaborate? I mean, again, why is he attaching her to a rocket? I mean, again, I guess she would, drown as well.
Well, because he's a dastardly villain. I mean, there's nothing, the more dastardly the plan, the better.
True.
The better the more bang for your buck.
Oh no, I mean it's like the James Bond stuff, where they would just assume that the person has died, leave them over a pit of as Austin Powers said, mutated ill-tempered sea bass, just hoping that sees them off, and just assuming the plan will happen, assuming that they'll die.
What I do have a bone to pick with, however, the fact, Ollie, that the good guys. Right, we've established that Hooded Claw is the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
The good guys, I mean, loosely based on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Well, yeah, definitely, no question.
Right.
And also a very famous gangster guy who used to play gangster, Edward G. Robinson, is the main guy.
Right.
But why are these guys? Why are these guys doing this?
More importantly, why are they the good guys?
Yeah.
What are we saying here? That Penelope has links to the mafia?
Oh, yeah, very true. Very true. That's a very good point. But and potentially she offered them the opportunity to have a cut of the millions, and it's almost like protection money. Because why else would they do this? It's very strange. But then they do seem to have a big love for her. Bit like did the dwarfs, Seven Dwarfs, have love for Snow White? No, I was never really clear of that.
Well, I mean, it's not such a bad situation when you think about it, shacking up with 7 men.
I don't think either of us would complain. No,
I mean, even if they are a bit shorter than you, there's 7 of them.
Not a problem. Yeah.
What more do you
7
want?
Exactly. But all with a range of emotions. So it also depends on your emotions. So you can hang out with the one that reflects your emotions. So if you're happy, I don't know, maybe you'd hang out with the happy one. If you're sad, you go to the sad one,
I think it's like a polygamist's paradise, really. These guys, they've got names that are slightly different from the 7 Dwarfs. They're called
copyright reasons.
Right. One's called Dum Dum.
Yep. Does what it says on the tin. Yeah.
Right.
Not messing around with that one.
Zippy.
Yep.
Because he, in this episode, I think he swims really fast.
Yeah. Well, I think his legs go fast.
He runs fast. Yeah. He can swim fast too. Yeah. Clyde is the leader, I think.
Yes.
His name is Clyde.
Yeah, it's Clyde.
In the same way that in Snow White and 7 Dwarfs, he was called Doc.
Yes. Yeah.
So not an adjective.
No. Wasn't he a doctor? I just assumed.
Could be.
Because they need a medical person there, because it's dangerous and down the mine. So cried like that, really, isn't he?
And there's another one called Yak Yak. Yak Yak is the one who laughs. Sorry.
Oh yeah, the laughing one.
She's gonna die.
Yeah.
That one there.
Good. Yeah.
So while Chuggaboom, we haven't even talked about Chuggaboom.
We haven't talked about Chuggaboom. Yeah.
I think you could probably safely say that Chuggaboom wouldn't really fit into this new idea of all cities having electric cars and stuff.
Oh, it definitely was a driverless car, no question. It's a very good point. It was the original driverless car. Yeah, and also quite dangerous. Remind me, Wacky Races, was there a prize for catching the pigeon?
I presume so. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in it, right? Because all of these people are flawed in some way.
Yeah, I just wondered, is it like the American RuPaul Drag Race where they can get like $100,000, or is it like the UK RuPaul Drag Race where there's only like a repeater badge at the end of it?
They seem pretty motivated. I reckon there's something like it was the 70s, so there was probably some sort of prize like you used to get on the Generation game, like a washing machine or something like that.
Yes, that's right. Or Bullseye when they gave the speedboats to people that lived in like Derby and stuff, and it was like completely useless.
You know what? I wouldn't have gone on Bullseye for the speedboat. I would have just gone on it. Honestly.
Yeah.
Just to get
the paperweight.
Just to get the bully.
Oh yeah, just to get the bully. The bully toy. Yeah.
What were they thinking of? You couldn't get one of those for love nor money. You had to go on the program.
It's true.
What were they thinking of?
Yeah. And in those days, they must have had quite a lot of applications to that show. Only a few channels, the whole nation watching that. There's a lot of competition, to be fair.
Another thing that could be learned is how to become a team leader, because they're the leader of the Anthill Mob there. He's obviously got everybody in check.
He has, no question. No question.
Did you notice how he did that?
Only that I noticed the human pyramid was happening the whole time. And, to be fair, I guess if you were talking about leadership styles, though, kind of a lot of bullying going on there.
A lot of bullying.
Undermining.
What sort of life lessons did you draw from any of the things that we've spoken about, like being how to be a real friend or how to be a hero?
Well, we already established there are no friends here, really. I mean, they're all working for the money. There's all a grift going on here. So, I don't think there's anything of that. I think, and the teamwork thing, I mean, we've even established that. I mean, that's just brilliant, basically. So that's how that's working. I think, you have to be careful about guardians and conservatorships. I think that's definitely a life lesson that we need to, and we need the rules changing on that.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And again, like I said, trusting people with bad names. I mean, Rob the robber, stay away from him.
Yeah.
Kevin Knife Man, stay away from dogs called Bitey McBites and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And rabies McDonald.
Or that singer Pitbull. I wouldn't go to one of his concerts because he might maul me or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Or might just do it like a shit on stage and really stare you out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that either. But yeah, no, definitely. You have to watch out for their names. So if you come across any strange names in your life that you think, oh, that's interesting.
Well, actually, I would go the opposite way. And I would say that probably the so-called normal people are much more dangerous. So if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, my name is Sylvester Sneekly," I would think, well, at least he's up front.
True.
True. At least he explains the plan.
He does.
Gives you a chance to get out of it.
He does. He does give you the chance, doesn't he? But also, it's also like, look how clever I am. That's what it's really about, isn't it? That's why he doesn't really want to succeed. I think he knows all of his plans will fail. Because if he gets what he wants, he'll never be able to mansplain to a woman how ingenious he is ever again. So,
well, he's not stupid also, because he knows that if he gets her, first of all, it's not going to look good on kids' TV if she
No,
dies.
definitely not.
And secondly, he wants to come back for a second series.
Yeah.
And that's where the money's coming from in the meantime.
Yeah.
'Cause he's got to have working capital.
Yeah. And also you'd think that, if the police did find her tied up at the bottom after being eaten by crocodiles, they might investigate as to the suspicious circumstances around it.
They would
so that's a concern.
They would probably just think it was part of the Johnny Depp trial.
Oh, maybe they thought it was maybe Paul Bettany and Johnny Depp texting each other about what to do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a possibility. But given the fact that the police might go, who might benefit from her death, and then the one person who would benefit is the guardian to her millions. You got to think. As ingenious as he is, I'm guessing they're going to notice that he's out the country at the time. As well, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to pass that off in a court of law, I think.
So thanks for tuning in to RETROSAURUS. It's been evil, villainous, and been full of malarkey. And I can't wait to get out there and get a top hat and a cape on and go and tie some damsel to the train tracks and run the bitch over. What about you, Ollie?
Well, I'm going to have to find someone with a whopping great inheritance that I can manipulate in some kind of way to getting their fortune.
And with that, think on, everybody. We'll see you next time on RETROSAURUS.